The Princess and the Pea, a test of sensitivity. Once upon a time, in the prosperous kingdom of Eldoria, there lived a young prince named Frederick. He was the only son of King Harold and Queen Beatrice, rulers of a land renowned for its lush forests, towering mountains, and shimmering rivers. Prince Frederick was admired throughout Eldoria for his striking features, deep brown eyes and chestnut hair, his sharp intellect, and a heart brimming with compassion. As he neared his 25th birthday, the weight of royal expectation began to press upon him. His parents, eager to secure the kingdom's future, urged him to find a bride worthy of sharing the throne. "It is time for you to marry, my son," King Harold declared one evening, his voice firm yet tinged with affection. "You need a queen by your side to help you rule Eldoria one day." Prince Frederick sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I understand, father, but I want to marry someone I truly love, not just anyone who claims to be a princess." Queen Beatrice, seated beside her husband, nodded thoughtfully. "We understand, dear, but you must be cautious. Many women will try to deceive you, drawn by your wealth and status." The prince knew this all too well. Over the past year, the castle had welcomed a parade of women, each claiming to be a princess from distant realms. Some arrived draped in silks, others with tales of grandeur, but none had stirred Frederick's heart. He had devised small tests, questions about royal customs, observations of their manners, but their answers always left him uncertain. Were they genuine or merely skilled pretenders? His parents, though patient, grew increasingly anxious as the months slipped by. Meanwhile, in the far-off kingdom of Luminaria, a land of golden plains and crystal lakes, Princess Isabella faced her own turmoil. Known for her ethereal beauty, golden hair that cascaded like sunlight, and eyes as blue as the summer sky, Isabella possessed an extraordinary gift, a sensitivity so acute she could feel the slightest shift in the breeze, hear the softest rustle of leaves, and sense the unspoken emotions of those around her. Yet this gift was a double-edged sword, for it made her vulnerable to the clamor and chaos of the world. Isabella had been betrothed to Prince Victor of a neighboring kingdom, a man whose arrogance and cruelty were whispered about even beyond his borders. Her parents, eager for an alliance, dismissed her pleas, insisting the marriage was her duty. But Isabella could not bear the thought of a lifetime bound to such a man. One moonless night, driven by desperation and a yearning for freedom, she made a daring decision. Disguising herself in a simple cloak and hood, she slipped out of the palace, leaving behind her royal life to seek a destiny of her own choosing. Her journey was long and perilous. She traversed dense forests where wolves howled in the shadows, scaled rugged mountains that tested her endurance, and crossed rivers swollen by spring rains. Along the way, she met a kindly old herbalist who shared bread and wisdom, and a band of travelers who offered her shelter from a storm. But there were dangers, too, thieves who eyed her meager belongings, and a wild boar that chased her through a thicket. Through it all, Isabella's resolve held firm, her sensitive nature guiding her instincts and keeping her alive. After weeks of travel, she reached the borders of Eldoria. As if fate had conspired against her, a violent tempest unleashed its fury just as she neared the capital. Rain lashed down in torrents, and the wind roared like a beast unleashed. Soaked to the bone and trembling with cold, Isabella stumbled toward the grand castle that loomed ahead, its towers piercing the stormy sky. Gathering her waning strength, she pounded on the massive wooden doors, praying for refuge. A servant, peering out into the deluge, was startled to see a drenched young woman standing there. "Please," Isabella said, her voice quivering, "I seek shelter from the storm." Moved by her plight, the servant ushered her inside and led her to the great hall, where the royal family dined beneath chandeliers of glittering crystal. King Harold looked up from his plate of roasted pheasant, his brow furrowing. "Who is this?" "A traveler seeking shelter, your majesty," the servant replied, bowing. Prince Frederick rose from his chair, his gaze locking with Isabella's. Despite her sodden cloak and tangled hair, he saw a quiet strength in her eyes, a beauty that transcended her disheveled state. "What is your name, and where do you come from?" he asked, his tone gentle yet curious. "My name is Isabella, and I come from a distant land," she answered, hesitating to reveal her full truth. Queen Beatrice studied her with a discerning eye. "You look as though you've endured a great ordeal. What brings you to our kingdom?" Isabella took a steadying breath, then spoke with quiet resolve. "I am a princess, but I have run away from home to escape an arranged marriage. I seek a place where I can be free." The royal family exchanged glances. Another claimant to royalty? They had heard such tales too often to take them at face value. Yet Prince Frederick felt a flicker of hope. There was an authenticity in Isabella's voice, a sincerity that set her apart from the others. Queen Beatrice, ever the guardian of her son's future, decided to put this newcomer to the test. "If you are truly a princess, you must possess the sensitivity that only a true royal can have. We shall see." She leaned toward a servant and whispered instructions, her expression unreadable. "Please join us for dinner," King Harold said, gesturing to an empty seat. "You must be famished after your journey." Isabella accepted with gratitude, and as they dined, Prince Frederick engaged her in conversation. He found her quick-witted and kind, her stories of travel laced with humility and resilience. His heart, so long guarded, began to warm to her presence. After the meal, Queen Beatrice escorted Isabella to a luxurious guest chamber. "You will sleep here tonight," she said, her tone neutral. "I hope you find the bed comfortable." Unbeknownst to Isabella, the queen had devised a subtle challenge. She had ordered the servants to place a single pea beneath 20 mattresses and 20 feather beds, each layer meticulously arranged to conceal the tiny object. If Isabella was indeed a true princess, her delicate sensitivity would detect it, no matter the barriers. Exhausted from her travels, Isabella sank onto the bed, expecting to drift into blissful sleep. But as the night wore on, she found herself restless. A faint discomfort nagged at her, as if a small, hard lump pressed against her back. She shifted positions, fluffed the pillows, and even tried sleeping on the edge of the bed, but the sensation persisted. By morning, she had scarcely slept, her sensitive nature unable to ignore the anomaly. At breakfast, when the royal family inquired about her rest, Isabella replied with polite honesty, "I am sorry to say that I had a terrible night's sleep. There was something hard in the bed, and I could not find comfort." Queen Beatrice's eyes widened. "You felt something?" "Yes," Isabella said, puzzled by the queen's reaction. "It was as if a stone or lump lay beneath the mattresses." The queen turned to her husband and son, a rare smile breaking through her stern demeanor. Only a true princess could have such exquisite sensitivity. She must be genuine. Prince Frederick's heart swelled with joy, but Isabella raised a hand, her expression thoughtful. "I appreciate your hospitality, but I must question this test. Is physical sensitivity truly the measure of a princess? I believe there is more to royalty: courage, wisdom, compassion, qualities that matter just as much." Frederick nodded, intrigued by her insight. "You're right, Isabella. Sensitivity is a gift, but it's not the only one that defines a true princess. Perhaps we should consider these other traits as well." Before the conversation could deepen, a servant burst into the hall, breathless. Your Majesties, Princess Morgana of Valtoria has arrived and requests an audience. The royal family exchanged surprised glances. Morgana was known across the realms for her stunning beauty and fierce ambition, her kingdom a powerful neighbor to Eldoria. She swept into the hall moments later, clad in silks of crimson and gold, her dark hair cascading in waves. She curtsied with practiced grace. Greetings, King Harold, Queen Beatrice, Prince Frederick. I have come to offer my hand in marriage to your son, an alliance that would strengthen both our kingdoms. Queen Beatrice, still wary from past deceptions, replied coolly, We are honored by your visit, Princess Morgana, but we must ensure that any bride for our son is a true princess in every sense. Morgana's smile was confident, almost smug. Of course, I am prepared to undergo any test you devise. Determined to be thorough, the Queen decided to administer the same trial. That night, Morgana was given a bed identical to Isabella's, with a pea hidden beneath 20 mattresses and 20 feather beds. The next morning, Morgana emerged, her expression one of exaggerated discomfort. I scarcely slept a wink, she declared. There was something hard in the bed. It tormented me all night. The royal family was thrown into confusion. Two women, both claiming sensitivity to the pea. Queen Beatrice frowned, uncertain whom to believe. Isabella, however, had been watching Morgana closely. Her keen senses detected a falseness in the princess's demeanor, the way her eyes flickered, the rehearsed tone of her complaint. Suspicious, Isabella resolved to uncover the truth. She spoke discreetly with the servants and learned that Morgana had bribed one of them to reveal the test's nature. Further inquiry revealed that Morgana had secretly removed the pea before sleeping, then feigned discomfort to pass the trial. Armed with this knowledge, Isabella confronted Morgana before the royal family. Princess Morgana, I believe you have deceived us. You did not feel the pea. You pretended to, after learning of the test through dishonest means. Morgana's composure faltered, her cheeks paling. That is a lie. I am a true princess, and I felt it just as she did. But the bribed servant, racked with guilt, stepped forward and confessed. She paid me to tell her about the pea, Your Majesties. She removed it from the bed herself. King Harold's face darkened with anger. We will not tolerate such deceit in Eldoria. Leave our castle at once. Morgana departed in disgrace, her ambitions thwarted, and the hall fell silent. Prince Frederick turned to Isabella, his admiration clear. You have proven not only your sensitivity, but also your integrity and perceptiveness. I am deeply impressed by your character. Isabella smiled warmly. Thank you, Prince Frederick. I believe true royalty lies in one's actions and heart, not merely in birth or physical traits. In the days that followed, Frederick invited Isabella to stay at the castle, eager to know her better. She agreed, and their bond grew through shared moments, strolls in the royal gardens, discussions of poetry and philosophy, and quiet evenings by the fire. Isabella's kindness shone in small acts, comforting a maid named Lily whose mother was ill, using her herbal knowledge to ease the woman's pain, or rescuing a bird with a broken wing she found in the courtyard. Her sensitivity proved invaluable beyond the pea test. When a mysterious illness swept through Eldoria, confounding the royal physician, Isabella noticed a pattern in the symptoms, a faint bitterness in the air near a certain well. She traced the cause to contaminated water, and her swift action, sealing the well, halted the outbreak, saving countless lives. The people hailed her as a hero, their trust in her growing with each deed. Queen Beatrice, initially reserved, warmed to Isabella over time. She saw in her the daughter she'd never had, and their conversations deepened into a bond of mutual respect. King Harold, too, approved of her wisdom and grace, seeing her as a fitting queen for Eldoria. As weeks turned to months, Prince Frederick knew he had found his true love. On a radiant spring day, beneath a canopy of blooming cherry blossoms, he knelt before Isabella. "Will you marry me, Isabella, and rule Eldoria by my side?" Her eyes sparkled with joy. "Yes, Frederick, I will." Their wedding was a grand affair, attended by nobles and commoners alike. The castle overflowed with music, flowers, and laughter, a celebration of two souls united by sensitivity, strength, and love. Isabella and Frederick ruled Eldoria with wisdom and compassion, their reign remembered as a golden age of peace and prosperity. And so, the prince and the princess lived happily ever after, their story a testament to the many facets of true royalty. The end.